Look closely at this face. You might think he died yesterday, maybe in his sleep. You would be wrong. He has been dead for 2,000 years, and his final moments were a nightmare of calculated final. History is not a bedtime story. It is a crime scene. And sometimes the earth refuses to let the victims stay buried. Today, we are cracking open the two oldest, darkest cold cases on record: the bog bodies of the Iron Age and the vampire burials of medieval Europe. Let the request begin. Our first mystery takes us to the desolate peat bogs of northern Europe. For centuries, turf cutters have unearthed impossibly preserved bodies. These bogs are highly acidic, devoid of oxygen. They pickle human flesh, preserve fingerprints, hair, even the last meal in a stomach. When found, they look so fresh that police often open modern murder investigations. But carbon dating reveals a chilling truth. These victims date back to the Iron Age, a time of dark gods and desperate tribes, and none of them died of natural causes. The evidence points to something archaeologists call overkill. Why stab a man who is already being strangled and drowned? Exhibit A, the Clonycavan Man, found in Ireland. He wasn't a commoner. He wore an expensive imported hair gel made of pine resin from Spain. His hands showed no manual labor. He was in high status. Yet he was felled by 3 vicious axe blows to the head. But here is the most horrifying detail. His nipples had been meticulously sliced off before he was cast into the black water. In ancient Ireland, sucking a king's nipples was a ritual of submission. To cut them off was to decommission him, to ensure he can never rule, even in the afterlife. The leading theory? These weren't muggings, they were sacrificed. When the harvest failed, the tribe blamed their king. They believed in the threefold death, wounding, strangling, and drowning simultaneously to appease 3 different gods. The bog bodies aren't just murder victims. They are offerings, high-status hostages sent into the earth to buy survival for the living. The Iron Age faded, but humanity's fear of the dead did not. We move forward 1,000 years, from the silent bogs to the crowded streets of medieval Europe, a time when science was absent, and the shadow of the plague darkened every doorway, a time when the dead refused to stay dead. Across Poland and Italy, archaeologists began finding deviant burials, graves that broke all Christian rules of rest. They found bodies buried face down, bodies with heavy padlocks locked around their toes, physically chaining them to the earth. These weren't the aristocratic vampires of Hollywood movies. This was a visceral peasant fear of what they called revenants. The backdrop was almost always a pandemic: tuberculosis, cholera, or the Black Death. People were dying faster than they could be buried. In Venice, during a 16th century plague, they found this woman in a mass grave. A brick had been violently rammed into her mouth after death. Why? Gravediggers reopening pits saw decomposing bodies seem chewing through their burial shrouds due to purge fluids. They believed these shroud eaters were magically draining the life from their surviving family members above ground. The brick was a brutal, practical solution, a gag to stop the chewing, to starve the monster. In Poland, the methods were even more direct. This woman was buried with a sharp iron sickle placed across her neck. It was a supernatural booby trap. If the body tried to rise, the blade would decapitate it instantly. The true horror here isn't the vampire. It's the terror of the living. These victims were often the first to die in an outbreak. Scapegoats. They were neighbors, mothers, friends, mutilated by the people who loved them most out of sheer desperate panic. Whether preserved in peat or pinned with iron, these bodies prove that the scariest monsters in history are never supernatural. They are us. What human beings are capable of doing to one another when driven by fear, belief, and survival. If archaeologists dug up our civilization 1,000 years from now, what evidence of our fears would they find? Give me your theories in the comments. And if you want more excavations into the macabre, hit subscribe. Sleep well.